Let's try it again. So, here's a quick story for everybody. Home over the weekend, as I often do, to visit my parents. My dad is going to be having hip surgery. By the time this episode comes out, he'll probably be already recovering by, I don't know, maybe about a week. He'll be in recovery, rehabilitation, whatever you want to call it. And, try to make a long story short. So I came home on Saturday and I picked some stuff up for lunch for me and my mother. She wanted to go to Taco Bell. I picked her up some Taco Bell, which harkens back to an earlier story I told about how fast food is not really, you know. I got 4 regular tacos, 4 Doritos tacos. It cost me almost 20 bucks. I'm sorry, let me revise that. 3 regular crunchy tacos, okay, and then I got 3 Doritos Supreme tacos, which is essentially with sour cream. Okay, cost me 20 bucks for 6 tacos, which is kind of ridiculous, I think. Mainly because those Doritos tacos are so fucking expensive. They're like almost 4 bucks a taco.
That's our way back in.
That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I ate the Taco Bell. It was meh at best, and I don't know if I got some of it. I got some of the ground meat stuck in my throat, I guess, and I didn't realize it because I didn't feel it. Like, you know how when you get a piece of food stuck in your throat, you kind of go like to get it up. Well, this was stuck somewhere in my throat. I don't know, and I hope I don't have like something wrong with my throat where I have like pockets or something. But I had like a little piece of meat, ground meat, trapped somewhere in my throat, and as I was breathing, normally breathing in and out, I accidentally, I think I breathed a little, like a piece of it into my lungs. 'Cause I'm talking to my dad like normal, and as I breathe in, all of a sudden I feel like there's something stuck in my like upper bronchial tubes, and I start coughing like really hard to try to get this thing up, and I, you know, try to like.
The Covenant BattleNet is a mess. I can't access the ship's schematics. My records indicate that a shuttle bay should be here.
So this is one of my least favorite parts of this entire game, especially on Legendary, because there are certain areas that it seems like enemies will infinitely spawn out of, and I think we're coming up on one right now. Well, no, not yet. Soon, though, we're gonna come up on one of those.
The Flood are gathering bodies here.
So, the Flood, you get a really good idea of how dangerous the Flood are. I mean, if you haven't already figured it out at this point, they're a danger, you know, not only to you, but the galaxy. You know, you really get that reinforced here because you start out the level, they're telling you about how the Flood, the Covenant's network is in array. They sent in a strike team to try to take out the Flood because... Okay, this is the area I was thinking of. If you stand here long enough, I think like enemies just infinitely spawn out of this one area, and it's really fucking obnoxious. Just watch how many guys I kill here. And just when you think you're done, you're not done. But getting back to what I was saying about the Flood, you really get an idea of how truly dangerous the Flood are, because in addition to the Covenant, like worrying about them getting off the off planet, off ring, whatever you want to call it. This is how you do this section, just to let you know. Wait for these guys to spawn in, and then when you get a little bit of a hole, you zip down here as quickly as possible, because otherwise you start getting yourself into more trouble than it's worth. And then from here, you want to make a right-hand turn. There's an overshield over here. There's a bunch of guys in here, but if you manage to throw the grenade like I did, you'll be pretty safe. And then there's a health pack also that I picked up while I was doing this. And then you kind of just want to take out everybody that's in your this area before continuing on. And you'll see why that is in a second. This is me double checking to make sure that the area's empty before I continue on, because what ends up happening is a lot of those guys that I was running away from follow you, and if you let them follow you down into this corridor that I'm about to go into, you're getting blown up from both sides, because you've got guys in front of you that are kind of difficult that you want to get rid of, and then you've got guys that you're backing your ass up into, plus the overshield that I was talking about. I just ate through the entirety of that overshield. So then you got to reload occasionally. So yeah, you don't want to run into this area when unprepared. And then you see that right there, that's a hole. It's originally not, you know what I mean, that would have been a normal floor previously, but now this is an area where you're going to drop down. And in addition, there's a bunch of one of these guys. So there goes all my health. Hooray, hooray. And now I'm dead. They're so dangerous. Hey, they're so dangerous because you could tell that they're smarter than, at this point, the game tells you they're smarter than they look. They're not just a bunch of dead zombies. They're working in cooperation with each other. They're trying to get off planet. You know, obviously, you've already been told that you could tell they're spreading amongst the people that are on the Halo array. They're fighting, you know, the zombie corpses of them as it is. And then we'll run into, in a minute, we're gonna run into what I believe epitomizes how dangerous the Flood truly are. It wasn't in the original game, but it was sort of implied that was what was going on. But I didn't really realize how deep it went until I viewed the cutscene that I'm going to pull up here in a moment. So we're going to run across another area that you kind of just want to chug your way through. This isn't it. Elites, Covenant, I mean, as annoying as they are, and, you know, obnoxious as it is to deal with Covenant forces, they at least follow some level of spawning rules where there's so many Covenant that spawn in, you got to fight them, and then once you defeat them, you move on to the next area. Whereas this happens where you don't go far enough into an area fast enough and you get overwhelmed by
Looks like another shuttle bay. We should be able to reach the
guys,
control room from the
you
third
know,
level.
dropping in from the ceiling, ad infinitum.
He's delirious. In pain. We have to find him.
Well, he'll still be where he's going to be in a minute, so I'm not going to hurry myself to death. I always thought it would be kind of interesting to see is what's it called? It's become very, very popular. Or common, I guess I should put it. Achievement. I always thought it'd be interesting if, you know, in a series like a Halo or something, you know, some of the decisions that occur in the game are based on achievements. Like, for instance, if 50% of people don't finish the game, Master Chief doesn't appear again in the next game. What happened to Master Chief? Oh, well, only 50% of the people who purchased our game actually finished it. So we presume that no one was able to survive the actual normal campaign, and they died and gave up, so we just assumed that Master Chief's dead in the next game. I know that would just completely tank the series, but I'm just, you know, talking in terms of the way, like, most players did XYZ. So 69% of them made it past, say, the Pillar of Autumn, but only 30% made it to the end of the game. That'd be so fucking ridiculous. And then it's like, well, if you want Master Chief in the game, you gotta finish the game. Particularly if you're talking like a game like Mass Effect, where your quote-unquote decisions matter.
The control room should be this way.
I was like, there's a perfect example of like, oh, well, Flood just play by their own damn rules. Not only do they randomly get up, which I know is in lore, what's supposed to happen is those little spawn carrier guys. The spawn carrier guys are supposed to...
The captain, his vitals are fading. Please, Chief, hurry.
I was trying to wait for that line to come out before continuing my thought. But what I was trying to say was, now I'm completely derailed. Oh, the spawn carrier guys are supposed to, you know, wiggle, those little dudes are supposed to wiggle their way into the bodies of the human beings and basically revive them. So there's a reason why you want to not only take care of the big guys that are shooting you right now, but also to shoot the little guys that are walking around, because if they, in this game, they're just sort of programmed to run into you, to eat your shields and then eat your health. But in later games, what they do is they sort of wander about, and some of them will jump into you and you know, try to kill you. You know, eat your shield, eat your health. But others will just sort of wander around, and then when they find a body, i.e. one of the Covenant, one of the flood units you've already killed, it'll not burrow its way in and revive that character. So that's one of the reasons in the later Halo games why you want to sort of manage what you're running into, because because just because you're killing all the big guys doesn't mean that you don't have to manage the little guys as well. You want to definitely take care of them. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run past all these guys to trigger the next cutscene. Because, yeah. This is very gross.
No human life signs detected. The captain, he's one of them. We can't let the flood get off this ring. You know what he'd expect. What he'd want us to do.
So we're just gonna punch right through his skull, pull out his neural implants. Nice. Stick it in our brain.
It's done. I have the code. We should go.
Gross.
We need to get back to the Pillar of Autumn. Let's go back to the shuttle bay and find a ride. We need to get back to the Pillar of Autumn. Let's go back to the shuttle bay and find a ride.
I tried to go through the front door. That's not a smart idea. Go through the side door. Also not a smart idea. Because the connector here, as you can see, to my right's been blocked off. So, yeah. This wasn't a smart direction to go either. And obviously this leads to the Covenant. And then we're actually going to drop down here in a sec. And I'm going to go to the little terminal I talked about earlier. It really sort of hammers in how devastating the flood are. And this is a little bit of retcon because at this point we haven't run into the grave mines yet, but we're going to run into him in the second game.
I forgot something. What did I... My name. I forgot. Oh, Keys. Jacob. Captain. Service number 01928-19912-JK. What is that noise? What is that damn noise? Where am I?
We're doing a little bit of flashback in here. This is when they're in the underground and they're being attacked by the first group of flood units that affected the elites.
Keys, Jacob. God, it hurts. This will never work, you Covenant bastards. I'll never lead you to Earth. Keys, Jacob, Captain.
So they're probing his mind, trying to figure out where Earth is. And he's trying to block them out of his mind.
19912-JK. Oh God, you don't want Earth, you want everything. Get out of my head. Miranda, is that you?
Forget
No, please, don't let me forget. Keys. Jacob. Captain.
I presume this is his wife.
Bird. 1928-19912-.
No more what you were. Memories. Emotions. All is now ours.
Keys. Jacob. Captain. Service number 01928-19912. JK. You will not have me.
We already do.
So that's a great time, a great moment there where it's like a little bit of an extra thing where you're looking into what does the flood do to you when it, and Keys being the obvious example of, you know, someone who's able to resist the flood's control long enough that, you know, you get to see the slow progression of it eating away at them, and you know why it's I don't know if the word dangerous is, or if it's dangerous, or what exactly the story is. I kind of backed my ass into the middle of a fight, which isn't great. So yeah, that was my
We
bad.
need to get back to the Pillar of Autumn. Let's go back to
We're
the
gonna have to do
shuttle
this
bay and
again.
find a ride.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spawn both doors, let them fight each other for a bit, and then we'll go in and try and clean up whatever's left. Depending on what level of difficulty you are at, it will depend on if the Covenant or the Flood win. If you're on a lower level difficulty, usually what happens is the Flood overwhelms, or the Covenant overwhelms the Flood. But the harder the difficulty is, the more waves of Flood you seem to get in the game. And when you have more waves, that means that you're more likely to run into a situation where
Pillar of Autumn. Let's go back to the shuttle bay and find a ride.
they just, even at their higher level, they just sort of overwhelm everything, and it just makes it too difficult. I don't know. Flood are definitely a problem in this. Obviously, they're a problem in this game, but you know, long term, like as I mentioned before, this idea of like, you know, okay, well, the end of Halo 3. Again, I have not played Halo 5 or Infinite or whatever comes after 4. But that is like an enemy type that you cannot bring back, because as soon as you do, you're opening up this can of worms again that you just, you know, it's like it just keeps getting bigger. You cannot, once it's out of the box, you can't put it back in. It's just, yeah. So the other thing I think that I really like, or just sort of gets to me, is that this loss of self thing, which I think not necessarily an innate human fear per se, but it's definitely one of my biggest fears is, you know, as you get older, you lose, god dang it, you lose who you are mentally, you know, either through Alzheimer's or dementia, or, you know, damaging your own brain. either intentionally or accidentally through the use of, you know, drugs, alcohol, accident, and it's just, it's hard. So here's a shortcut that we're going to take here. We're going to, first of all, take care of this elite, and then you can see the drop ship / banshees are coming in. So what we're going to do, I'm going to sort of peek my head over the top here, try to take out some of these guys.
Perfect. Grab one of the escort banshees and we'll use it to return to the Pillar of Autumn.
So what we're going to do, I think that the way they intend you to do this is they want you to go the long way. What I want to do is I want to go the short way, which is jumping down here. And then you can actually jump down to the next area and take the Banshee. But on the harder difficulties, it's difficult to get to the Banshee before the elites that are, is what, like 6 to 10 elites down there. Difficult to not get overwhelmed and not die. Obviously the shortest way to do this is probably jumping down, landing on top of the Banshee, and hopefully triggering the cutscene immediately. But this is I think this is a good alternative, particularly if you have your pistol on you, because now both the hunters are dead, and it's just you and the Covenant, and you're only going down one level. Also, this is like my favorite fucking song. This is done a lot better in the next level, but this is really good. About to say, that grenade should have gone off by now. Alright, they're all dead. Darker corners, good. And then once we get past this elite, that'll be pretty much it for this area. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go out the door, and once we're out the door, we're going to head straight for the Banshee and trigger the cutscene. So this is usually pretty safe, because there's the door, which opens and closes, then there's the wall that can block out any damage, and then it's just you and the Banshee. So yeah, you can get overwhelmed. Anyways, we're gonna get to the Maw, which is the last level, next time.